And a good morning to you. Welcome inside the house. Great story to tell. In case you didn't know, the Russians have invaded, according to a customer we had at a store. And she needed an iPhone charger cable, and she was declaring martial law because it was an emergency. It is amazing. Amazing but true. Full house today. Glad to have everybody in. I marked off a, and you know, I don't want anybody to take this as braggart, but I marked off a thing off my bucket list many years ago. The first time I ever played golf at Catawba Country Club in a tournament that we had at Times Oil. Yeah. I said, I want to be a member of this place one day. Beautiful place, facility. The golf course is phenomenal. The food is phenomenal.
Office staff is incredible.
Absolutely.
Wonderful people.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And the wings I had last night were off the hook.
Yeah, they're good.
The honey sriracha was really
Is that not
nice.
the best?
And I had the buffalo. The buffalo was a little on the warm side. I know after I had the first one, I was like, well, my nose and head's completely cleaned up now and cleared out. Woo! But my youngest said, we need to go christen that place tonight. So that's
Good.
what we did. We went up, had dinner on the patio. It was a nice breeze blowing.
Veranda looking.
Yeah.
Thing. Yeah, yeah.
The veranda, is that what they call that?
I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Probably
a
is.
It's a really good setting.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And
of course, had indoor dining, and I did see. You'll recognize this name. I had seen him at dinner there a couple of weeks ago, and told him that I had put my application in. Ryan Edwards.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Ryan was at West Lincoln when I was coaching back in the day.
Okay.
And then went on to Lenore Ryan. I think he coached a little bit at Lenore Ryan. I
He
think
sure
he's
did. Red Dog is his nickname.
I think he's in finance and insurance now.
No, he is. He is. They do. He and Les Stewart, good friends of mine. Les's boy Henry.
Yep. Good catcher.
Yeah,
baseball.
absolutely. Great football player. He's been all conference 2 years in a row as a freshman and
but a
sophomore.
really good baseball player.
He is. He plays on Quinn's team
Hopefully,
in the summer.
Hopefully he gets the growth spurt that then will move into Les's body, as opposed to his mom's body, which is a little bit shorter.
Yeah, he's definitely mama. His daddy was a great player. Les is a great player. Played against him, but they are in the same business I'm in. He and Ryan. I worked with them at A.G. Edwards before they went and opened
Southeast
Retirement Partners. Mm-hmm. And so, but both of them have been good friends.
Ryan, a great guy, and we met a couple of couples that were sitting at the table, and of course, you know, everybody introduces themselves. Yeah. And I'm terrible with names, but this guy was the retired tennis pro up there. Had been the tennis pro at Catawba for years. He and his wife.
John Ewens?
Maybe. And there was another guy that owns a landscaping business, and we were talking, and their daughter plays a lot of tennis with my buddy Vance, his son Jake, that plays at Lenore Ryan. They play a lot of tennis, and it's amazing how the small world creeps up.
Oh, yeah.
And then the guy went on to tell me that he was renting a little yard space at the old, I don't know which plant it is, behind the high school, that Tom Lilly owns. He was renting some space, and I said, well, I know Tom. Tom shares he's right beside me at South Fork when I'm over there. And then, of course, his son Thomas.
Yes.
Very good in golf in Hickory.
Oh,
so, you know, it's amazing the small world that you create. And, of course, I got the traditional post on there that was, you can't hide money. And you can't hide debt either. I'll go ahead and tell you that. But, hey, bucket list, and I've told folks my truck and my membership, I only have to make one car payment now.
Yes.
I've made multiple car payments for a lot of years. So, you know, now it's time for daddy.
It's reallocation of funds.
Reallocation of revenue.
That's a good
reallocation of revenue.
Oh, yeah. Have you had the honey siracha wings?
I have not. I don't know how that'll handle me, my stomach.
Okay, so at some point, we'll do that.
They do it. And I don't know everything that goes on there, okay? But Wednesday night they have a family night.
Yeah, the family buffet's on Wednesday.
And if you like golf and like those amenities, you would be surprised how really affordable it is for what you get, especially on the food side. because you can make a reservation this afternoon for a table tonight.
Yeah.
And go up there and eat, and you can get anything from a filet down. Great salad bar, burgers.
Yeah,
I mean, whatever you want, and it's very, very one of my favorites. And I used to go when they had it over here at Glen Oaks on Sunday. They had the Sunday lunch.
That was absolutely.
Up there, they brought it back after COVID. It's in the big ballroom that's up there, and they'll have 3 entrees, okay, and the vegetables and the salad bar and more desserts than you could. I mean, you're talking sugar coma just looking at them, okay.
It's a minimum requirement of 5 metformins.
Yeah.
30 minutes prior.
And then
the dessert bar.
They have an omelet station. They have a waffle station. It is also a brunch kind of thing.
Okay.
And I want to say next Sunday, not this weekend, but the next weekend, I want to think the 3 entrees is like shrimp scampi, prime rib on the carving station. And the cost on that, $15. You can't go anywhere and eat for $15. Plus, you stand in line and wait to get in, and and it's 15 minutes from the house.
Yeah,
and the golf is phenomenal. They got tennis courts, pickleball courts, workout facilities, saunas, showers, locker rooms.
So Jason.
And I met Jason last night. He's the food and beverage guy.
Yeah, well, the other one downstairs is the pro guy, and then Nelson Howard.
Yeah, formerly for over 4.
Taught with my dad and coached my dad for, I don't know, close to 500 years. It's Jennifer's daddy, Jennifer Howard's daddy. That's who Nelson is.
Oh, that Okay, that Nelson.
Yeah,
okay, I was thinking, who's I thinking of? The little short, really
Nelson
short.
Yes, Bob.
Watts.
Nelson Watts.
Governor.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
My dad's best friend.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I worked with him at Mate.
Okay.
He's the governor.
Nelson Howard. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Nelson Howard, Mr. Howard,
he did PA up with Fred T. Ford for a while too, up at the press box.
He's just incredible. When Jennifer and I were kids, I was 2 years older than she was. But in teacher work days, we'd be on opposite ends of the gym, and she'd be down there shooting foul shots. We'd be down there playing or whatever. And I'd watched. One day I stood there for 2 or 3 minutes. And I don't think she missed. Well, what's funny is about 6 months later, she won the national free throw shooting contest at like 10 years old.
Yeah,
it was incredible.
Awesome.
Yeah. And Dad told me, I remember Dad calling Kay Yao, because Dad grew up in that area where Kay Yao used to play with the guys, like basketball and baseball and stuff, when they were kids. And I remember Dad making that call when Jennifer was a freshman. And she obviously wasn't in the office or whatever. And I heard Dad leave her a message. And I wasn't really paying attention. And she called back like 10 minutes later. Mom said, "Oh, is that Kay?" I was like, "Who is Kay?" It's Kay Yao. I was like, I mean, even before you had internet and everything, you knew who Kay Yao was. I was like, "Whoa!" Dad said, "Son, I've known her since we were kids." I was like, "What?" It's like, what? But he was I remember him telling Kay the exact words. Kay, I've seen a lot of kids play ball, boys and girls, and this kid's got it. She is phenomenal.
Let me welcome some folks in. Richie, good morning.
Great stories, man. Just good stuff.
Richie mentioned, and I saw this last night or this morning, there's 1 case of polio. And I don't think they vaccinate for that anymore. I've still got my little
dot on
my arm. Right. Yeah,
where
from when
was
I had
the case?
I don't remember. Richie, see if you can find that. Milton, good morning. Stephen, good morning. Bob says Henry Bulldog Stewart.
Oh, yeah.
My man.
Henry's our guy, man. I mean, come on. I mean,
quiet,
dependable,
low-key.
Yeah, dependable.
Yeah.
He loves – he is like the best teammate in the world. I watch Henry every weekend.
And I told Brandon Eichert said he thought it's in Washington.
Okay.
D.C.
Okay, thanks.
Bob will know Steve's still the GM, and he is.
Oh,
Richie said if you want sweet heat wings, the mango habanero wings, Buffalo's were perfect for that.
We're not going with that mild stuff.
Most of the time I'm a honey barbecue or a teriyaki.
Don't tell me about the barbecue, man.
Hey,
it's the heat, baby.
Hey,
bring the heat.
I don't like that hot stuff, Roy. I don't like that hot stuff, Roy. Jeff Meadows has got an answer to debt. He says debt is wealth investing.
Jeff Meadows is a very smart man.
debt is wealth investing. So there you go. All right. Ron Bingham, enjoyed having lunch with you yesterday. You may not recognize him as that. You may remember him from the old Magic 96 days as Bobby Lane back in the day. Awesome. We had lunch up at the Hen and Egg yesterday. I saw a feel-good story this morning before we get into – we got a lot to get into today. A feel-good story today. There was a lady out of Texas that lost her husband kind of young. And I'm sorry, not her husband. She lost her grandpa, and they didn't have a lot of money. And they were trying to do some fundraising, and she was selling some J.J. Watt memorabilia. She had a pair of J.J. Watt sneakers, size whatever, and she had a J.J. Watt jersey. And she said, "We're all just trying to pitch in." J.J. Watt saw it and messaged her through Facebook and said, "Do not sell your stuff. I will help you."
Whoa. Wow, there you go.
Whoa.
The part that people miss, there's a lot of really good ones out there too.
They mostly are.
But here's the deal. That doesn't get clicks.
No.
Okay? I mean, that doesn't get clicks.
Hey, it does here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And just like you promoting it. Now, I'm going to tell you what, buddy. When they had, the flooding and all the things that were going on, J.J. Watt was right there. He was right there in that whole thing.
Yep.
Squeaky wheel always gets the grease.
Yeah, man.
Make enough noise, you get noticed. There's another good feel-good story, and I don't remember the college football player that this involved, but somebody had some kid got an NIL deal, and it was a sizable six-figure NIL deal, and instead of taking the money that he got and maybe spending it or doing something, he decided to give it most all of it back to a teammate whose mom was going on dialysis, and he paid for all the dialysis. Mm-hmm. And that's something that
there's some good.
There are a lot of stories out there like that, but they get overlooked because of, that's like you said, you don't get the clicks. But
that's incredible.
He donated, I think, almost all of it. So one of his teammates' mom
wonderful.
Could get a dialysis.
I'll give you this one. And we'll get into something. Kirby Smart's looking at $100 million plus contract at Georgia, and that's great as long as he can continue to do what he did. But if he don't, he'll be like Mark Richt and he'll be on the street.
Well, hopefully he'll be smart enough to have the university do what Michigan did for Harbaugh, and put quite a bit of that in a index universal life,
where they can't get it back.
No, well, in the government, the way the insurance laws are set up and tax laws, that money grows tax deferred, and after a certain period of time, you can pull it out tax free. Here's distributions from it, and it's non-taxable. It is a great investment tool. Oh, wait, I'm not supposed to talk about this. Sorry. I'm talking about if you're a coach and you're looking to defer.
Because debt is wealth management.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't mean to get into all that, but that's
okay.
It was I think I heard something yesterday, maybe this morning. 10 years ago, college coaches making $1 million was, that was unheard of. Now they're like 10 or 15 that make over 9 or 10 million.
Oh yeah.
Have you heard about the Kyler Murray deal?
No.
Kyler Murray.
Got a new
the
contract.
saga seems to be over as he's announced to agree to a 5-year extension with the Cardinals through 2028.
Right.
The deal is worth $230.5 million, including $160 million guaranteed.
God Almighty, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
He's walking away with 100.
Okay.
After taxes, he's going to walk away with 100.
How many playoff games has he's won?
He has not.
There's a donut hole over in the back.
That's right.
Just like Lamar Jackson. That's why they keep saying they can't pull the trigger on Lamar Jackson. Now the justification.
I'll take Baker Mayfield and Kenny Pickett over Kyler Murray.
The justification on Kyler Murray.
Whoa.
The Kyler Murray deal. The reason, is because if he hasn't done anything else, he has made the Cardinals relevant.
Yeah, well, they
because
talk
they were
about him.
so bad.
He's
they
undersized.
Were so bad.
You're right, Lynn. Yeah. He's undersized. He runs around all over the place. Mm-hmm. Incredibly strong arm. Great athlete. But again, in the NFL, do you want your quarterback being the playmaker or the manageable distribution guy? what has worked so far for Super Bowl teams.
It's
Yeah,
distribution,
and
it's
to your point, who you
Or
would
early
want.
on, maybe both.
well.
Early
It
on.
says here.
Yeah.
It said here in 2021, he rushed the ball fewer than 45 times. Okay, as far as actually rushing.
Right.
Watched his passer rating improve, including an 82.2% on-target rate, second overall last season. And this is kind of what it points to. He is second at a $46.1 million average salary. He's the second highest paid in NFL history. Only Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers tops Murray at 50.1, and Murray's reported $160 million guarantee ranks second behind Deshaun Watson's $230. Deshaun Watson got the same amount of money, but he got it all guaranteed. And they said the next one for the big payday is Lamar Jackson. And then you've got Joe Burrow, and then you got Justin Herbert. So you got all of these guys. And the talk is this. Here's where the talk is. Until how do I put this? Until these guys come to the realization, am I in it to win it, or am I in it to get all the money I can get? Until you take the Tom Brady approach, and I hate to toot his horn and say, look, I'm good with 30.
Yeah.
Take that other 20 and spend it on me some weapons and offensive linemen.
Right.
I can make it on $150 million over the next 5 years.
Right.
It tells you who these athletes are. And I'm not saying – I would like to think if I were put in that position that I could look at it like that. But sometimes you look at it and say – and it comes from somebody that's never made $1 million and will never make $1 million. How much money is enough money?
That's I often hear that. I've been hearing that for years. It's what the market will dictate.
I understand.
But
I understand.
And it's not about that.
But
it's
do you
about,
not need to weigh between success? It's all just about what the money you can make.
No, that's not what I mean. I'm validating your point. When people get to that point when they start questioning how much money is enough, if you go back and watch the movie Moneyball, and the offer that was made to Billy Beane, and his point was, the guy that was his assistant said that'll make you the highest paid GM in the history of sports, and he said I made money. He said I made a decision at 18. Basically, he's saying I made a decision at 18 years old about money first instead of looking long term on things, and of course, he didn't do it, that time. So it kind of, I think to your point, it's left up to the individual who is dealing with it and what their beliefs and values are. I'm not saying people don't have values if they accept higher money. What I'm saying is what their focus is, for what they're trying to achieve.
So go ahead.
Andrew makes a great point here. Hadn't thought about this. Andrew, welcome in, and Andy Royals, welcome in. He's doing his basketball camp. Andrew said, I think some of these guys are on what they see as dead-end teams. So they switch their mindset from winning on the field to winning at the bank. So I guess my question –
Which ones are he's?
And Miss Mandy says each individual's definition of success, which is true.
Which dead end teams?
Well, the
Lamar
Cardinals are a dead end team.
Yeah, that's
it's going to be hard for them to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
I mean, they've got more things that they have to get done, and now they don't have the money.
They're in a very tough division.
And 25% of their cap, over 25% of their cap is in one player.
Right.
And so where teams like –
But that's the only one I can think of when you're talking about dead end teams.
Yes,
with
but
top
when you
franchise
when you look
quarterbacks.
at like when you look at like the Rams and some of these other teams, they've got rookie contracts. That's how you do it, unless you've got a quarterback that's willing to kind of give and take with you a little bit. But the other side of it is, like with the Rams, they've come up to the point to where, okay, we've got 4 or 5 positions that we're going to pay top dollar for. And it's not going to be a safety. It's not going to be an offensive guard. It's not going to be a tight end. It's quarterback.
Yeah.
It is edge rusher. It's
Edge
a
rusher.
corner.
Yeah.
It's a left tackle. And then
The occasional wideout.
occasional.
No, you're right.
And they put their money there, and they kind of fill in the pieces with other things, and it seems to be something that kind of works. That's why the Cowboys will never win, because they've put their money. I don't think they've spent their money wisely on where they put it. I'm not saying that people don't deserve it, but sometimes you maybe need to go with another player instead of paying that one, so that it makes the team better. Can that position and the money you invested in that player make the team better as a whole? Now I stopped it. Go ahead. You lose your thought?
Yeah, I did. I kind of
okay. Well,
you were talking to the point where started out with coaching salaries and now with the player salaries, and maybe it's a generational thing, but I think a lot of coaches, the ones that are making a lot of money now, got into the profession not thinking, hey, I want to get rich.
No,
they went in because they wanted to coach ball. They just love the coaching aspect of it. I think when you look at maybe even some of the players, a lot of them that are getting to pay the big bucks, there was a period of time where they had to work their butt off and work hard, and the payoff was a big contract, but they weren't playing necessarily professional football just so they could become the highest paid whatever.
Correct.
But there's a lot of them out there now that
there are now of them a lot out there. I think
won't settle for anything less.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use the word destroy, but I think the NFL Combine, the way that it's
we
run,
talked about that the other day.
Yes, and to your point, the thing you had sent me saying, hey, what does this guy think about sports? Or says that travel ball has become this, that, and the kids aren't learning anything. I think it's the NFL Combine, because they're so worried in the combines about how fast somebody is,
how high they jump,
how
Analytics,
much they can bench 225. All right, they're looking at all the measurables that, yes, could apply to the field, but the one thing, no matter what you are doing, all right, and this has been proven, the one thing that is most important in any endeavor that you do, that you partake in, that you want to succeed in and be successful, is grit. That's number one. The abstract is the athleticism and the potential that has not been put to use yet.
On the field, in the classroom, grit.
Yes.
Yeah.
How does he interact with the janitor? Some of the questions that people ask, because they want to know who the kid is. This is the problem. The reason that mindset is the way it is because there are a ton of Wes Welkers out there, James Harrisons. Mm-hmm. James Harrison cut many. His story is really good.
Oh, yeah.
If you ever watched it, or if you haven't, that's a good. It's a really good story. Cut several times, put on his practice team. There's a lot of those players out there. The problem is recruiters get fired if they recruit somebody like that and they don't work out at the next level. And then, of course, the NFL. Then the filter starts coming in where everything's filtering down through not the hourglass, but the true funnel.
And there's not that much time to develop players now anymore.
Right. So that's why you're seeing performance centers open up, because it used to be you go and play your way into development, where now the number one overall pick was Matt Holliday's son in baseball. You know what he said? He said, when COVID hit and then they decided to open schools back up, we just stayed online, because what we could do is get our academic stuff done, in periods throughout the day.
On their schedule.
But we could train starting at 7 in the morning. And he said, all I did was hit with my dad. That's all I did. We hit. So to Juju's point, the reason I'm getting to this is I think NFL Combine is responsible for mindset all the way down to our youth sports, going into the travel sports, both with softball and baseball, because there's a guy.
Wait a minute, hold that thought. We're going there next. Let me squeeze a break in.
Okay.
And I'll be right back. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
And we're back. Now we're going to get something even more. Andrew said it's pretty similar to college football. There are probably 4 or 5 true Super Bowl teams. Yeah. And the same thing when you talk about college as far as winning a national championship on the D1 level. Milton said if owners don't put a stop to it, the NFL will become the NBA for long. The NBA's that. They just got a handful of stars, and all the money goes there, and you've only got a handful of teams that can win. Now,
Won't happen.
NFL has always said that they are the number one team that gives parity. They kind of pride themselves. The NBA and Major League Baseball, you look at payrolls. You and I talked about it one day. 240 or 60 million for the Yankees and Dodgers, down to 40-something million for the small markets. So, I agree with that. Now,
but I think you'll never see what you see in the NBA. I don't think you'll ever see it in the NFL, because the NFL is a true team sport. It's the closest team sport that you can have out there. You got NBA players, you got 10 or 15, as opposed to 55 guys on a football team.
It's a great point.
So I mean that's my opinion on that,
but I think he's talking about because of the way they're spending their money.
Yeah,
you're putting it in certain stars and not really looking at.
Right.
If I pay these, am I paying the 5 key positions to get me to a Super Bowl? Or am I just paying these guys? When Jerry pays guys, when Jerry Jones pays guys, well, Bobby Joe, he's been good, loyal. He's a good old boy, good ball player. We need to take care of him.
The only one that worked
you get
out
to
for
a point, you run out of money.
You're right. And Jerry won't. But to your point, other
you run out of
teams
money
will.
up against the
up
against the caps. What I'm saying.
Right. But the only one that I feel like it really worked out for, that he did it for, that made sense, was Emmett. Emmett Smith. When I think Emmett Smith, in my opinion, I don't know the whole story. I was in my very early 20s when Emmett held out, but I think it was the right thing to do, to open up the door for other players to not, that weren't getting, the look or the appreciation of what they put into, and it helped them win the Super. Obviously Emmett came back and then they won the Super Bowl. I believe that Emmett was right. I don't like the guys that don't fulfill contracts, but at the same time, we're not talking about, the 1919 Black Sox when, Comiskey wasn't doing his players justice or keeping them out not to pay bonuses. And, those things are very true that were in that, that movie and the story.
Morning, sis. Glad to have you. Ronnie says owners are trying to buy a championship.
Yeah.
And that's what they do.
That's New York.
We've always
It's
done
the
that.
Yankees.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's really bad in baseball. NBA's almost as bad when you start putting 3 stars on a team and they all get max contracts. And does the NFL need max contracts like the NBA?
Well,
and the other side, let me tell you something I do like about the NBA that kind of puts them in a bind when they have to trade money for money. Mm-hmm. You can't just trade players. You have to trade contract money.
Right.
Yeah.
So Juju had sent a thing to me that a gentleman on Twitter had talked about how he had felt like that, travel sports in particular, and he's talking about baseball, because that was kind of – that it is ruining, kids as far as, the game goes. Mm-hmm. So I looked into that when Juju sent it to me, and I thought about it, and I was like, okay. So I made a few calls to guys that do training. Of course, across the street, we do, all those things, right? They do all those things. But then to some other people as well. And the one thing that just was glaring to me in conversation is that guy was alluding to that kids don't have a fundamental understanding of the game anymore. That is not the goal when, for these kids today. Today, he's talking about kids, they throw the ball harder, they hit the ball further, but they have no fundamental understanding of the game. Kids today are not interested in that when they're training. They are interested in what he said because those are the things that are being recruited on, because it started, in my opinion, with the NFL Combine about things that really don't – they assimilate to the field, but in the end they have nothing to do with grit and determination. So what I'm saying is the only things that we hear about are bat speed, launch angle, how fast the ball came off the bat.
Spin rate.
Okay? So, to criticize and I'm not saying the guy's wrong.
Well, you know who you made this comment.
Tony.
He's the head of the Major League Players Union. Tony Clark.
Right, yeah. And I'm not saying that he's wrong. I'm saying that the in sports in general, it's gone to more scientific types of discovery and re-innovation and innovation than it has to a kid knowing what to do with the ball when the ball's hit to them. I see it every weekend. They don't know.
But here's the deal. Here's the deal. It's not just baseball.
No, but
we've gotten out of that with teaching fundamentals.
But it started with the combine, the promotion, and now I say it started. That's my opinion. After I've had 48 hours to think about this, when you show things like that, then people will gravitate to the things that matter most to the people that are in charge that can get them to the next level. That's why you see people sitting out. How many guys in the NFL, how many players, whether it be pro sports men or women, college, whatever, do you look at that kid and say, or that player and say, that person right there is a winner? You can't say, there's very few you can say that about.
Yeah.
You could look at Michael Jordan and you could, again, that's a one in a century type. But my point is, the grit and determination that guy had versus the grit and determination to get paid today are two different things.
Yeah, and let me get some context. Tony Clark said this he spoke to a sports writer for the L.A. Times, Bill Shaken, and Tony Clark made some news this week or last week during the All-Star game, saying that besides this, that he thinks baseball should have a salary cap or a salary floor. So he's trying to make some news, but I want to pull out the quote. He said, quote, "Youth baseball development these days, travel ball in parentheses, is broken." That's what he said. He's broken. And it makes money and produces players that throw hard and hit the ball far, but do not necessarily know they know how to play the game.
He's right, but that's not the focus of the player because – when I'm at these tournaments and I talk to Grant and Aaron, when they get feedback and Cam and I'm sitting back there with some of the guys when I coach college ball or played with or against that are coaches and recruiters that are at these tournaments, They don't care about the kids' knowledge of the game. They want to see the sucker throw 95.
Yeah.
They want to see his bat speed at 100 miles an hour. I mean, I'm just giving an example.
And they can because they think they can teach and develop the knowledge of the game.
Right. Yeah. They say, well, we can take care of all that because that acknowledgement part. I mean, you surround them with good. It's crazy.
But hasn't that been the case for a number of years, especially in college and recruiting?
Yes.
They would look at potential.
That's what I'm saying. The abstract.
Do you have the tools?
The abstract
that we can build on?
They look at the abstract, Lanny. That's what I'm.
They look at a kid and say, I can hang 60 pounds on him when I get him on campus because I can put him in the weight room. I can put him on our nutritional plan and.
I'll use my son. I don't. He's my son, so I'll use him. I brought him in the world. I'll take him out. It don't matter. So Quinn,
hey, it's just like
I'm using you, big
just
boy.
like I say, if they argue with me, I'm like, hey, I got papers on you.
We for real. And I can't deny Quinn.
Yeah.
He does.
I can't deny any of mine.
But you know what I'm saying. He's starting to look like Dad. Unfortunately, he used to look like his mother, and that was great. But now he's doomed. But when we have recruiters come and watch, our guys like Culliver and guys like that, when they look at a guy like Quinn or another guy like Jack Hensley that's on our team's like 6'4", what they see when they look at those kids is they say, holy cow, they aren't the 3 or 4 or 5-star recruit, but these guys are big, they're strong, and how much weight can we put on them, and what could they potentially do, even though they're not right now. I say they, I'm talking about Quinn, not Jack too, but even though right now he's not getting the offer like, that. But they do, when I talk to them about other players and when Will or Coach Murray and all, when we talk to these guys, that's the one thing they look at. Is that a kid we want to bring on and just, have as a walk-on?
You can't coach the physical
attributes. And so when they go watch him in the weight room because that's where they, do that, they're like, holy cow, okay, so they got the strength. Their size is, as far as height goes, Quinn's almost 6'2", so he's a little under that part. But they're like, God, what if he puts on 60 or 70?
It's the old question. What would you much rather have? Would you rather have somebody that's talented, really, and has all the measurables, but doesn't have the want to? Or would you rather have somebody that's questionable with the measurables but has a want to that's off the charts?
Option B.
Option B.
I know.
Every
to
day.
Win championships. And what happens is when you start getting option B in there, option A starts conforming to B because people gravitate to people that have character.
Yeah.
If you'll notice, if somebody's full of mess, golly, I got to really be careful. If somebody's full of it, there's 1 or 2 people that are like them that'll hang out with them, but people will gravitate away from that because they don't want to be around that, especially in sports settings. To your point. And that's how you build championship-style teams because the other stuff comes.
Those intangibles and those abstract things
example.
you're talking about, leadership qualities.
Yes.
Is that something they're born with or something can be taught?
A little bit of both.
More, to me, I'm big that a lot of the things that you develop are based on your environment. And how you handle it.
Yes.
However, there's got to be some genetics in there too.
And just like some people you can look.
We're talking about male and female.
No,
athletes.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I've seen it.
Okay.
And I can really see it. Like Lanny White loves college softball. You can see it on the field when a pitcher says, "That's my plate." You are not gonna, get up on it or touch the. You're not gonna drive the ball off of me. Okay, I'm in control here. You can see kids like that are the ones in basketball, like, give me the ball, I'm going to take it over, And I think, to a degree that's something that's kind of innate in nature but can be developed, kind of like mine was. Mine was very immature. When I was younger, mine was, very aggressive style of trying to get everybody to just go and, to the point where I wanted to fight if somebody wasn't working hard enough in practice or wasn't producing in a game. It was misguided because the intent was for us to be successful. I just needed to do a better job of being a better teammate and managing that process to help their development. I was so, you know what I'm saying? So it was taught to me over the years of how to redirect that. That's why kids that throw their helmets and things like that at a young age, they may have seen it on TV, but when the ones that have seen on TV are doing it, and then the ones that have grit are doing it. So you don't want to break the spirit. You want to mold it into the direction where it becomes appropriate.
Redirect it.
Yes. Right. That's a great topic, though.
Let me give you a couple comments that came in. Jeff Meadows said you call it showcasing. Is you're showcasing
your abilities. Yeah, no, Jeff's right.
Yeah.
And that's important.
And then Ronnie said, what I've always wondered, and this is so true, is why a player has a pro season when their contract is up, a Pro Bowl type season when their contract is up, sign a huge contract, and then it's like efforts go down. I mean, it's because that carrot's not still out there in front of you. You always got to be hungry. You always got to be hungry.
It goes back. Why are you playing or why are you coaching in the first place?
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
How much money is enough money?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Todd Herm said, I brought you into this world. I can take you out and make another one. Chad Mullis, body frame for a kid can tell you all for future potential. And, I'm going to give an example, and I can't give you an example based on personal knowledge, but the guy that shared it with me, I trust him with my life, and that's Barry Drum.
Oh, absolutely.
Barry played with him.
Absolutely.
He talked about one of the biggest things when you talk about that gravitating, one of the biggest things that was a part of them winning the championship in 78 was Kevin Wilson was like another coach on the field.
Yeah,
he had that mentality of helping the other players, understanding what the whole concept was. And those other players, Barry said, you were drawn to him and you had trust in him because he was one of you. And that makes a huge difference. And you can't make that up. You can't put on that has to be real, especially at that age, because kids will see through it.
Oh, yeah, kids are smart with fake and phony.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, Lanny, my dad, Kevin, was the head coach at Fred T. Ford. For 1 year they were 0-11.
Yeah.
And my dad told me, he said, son, that's the best football coach. He said, I've been around Dickie Foster. I've known, Randy Loman, Tom Brown. He said, that guy has the potential to be the best football coach I have ever been around in 30. At that time, was like 28 years.
Who's the?
It's incredible.
Who's the comedian from Fred T. Ford area?
Oh, John Reap.
Yeah, he was on that team.
Yes.
I think I read a quote or something. Was he a quarterback or whatever position he played? He said the coach wanted us to work hard and try to win games. He said all we wanted to do was,
Oh yeah.
The reason you go out to play sports, you want to get the girl. I'm being kind there.
So Dad's laid back in his chair. They were still living in Mountain View at the time, where Dad, we'd moved from Valdez to Mountain View. Dad had some health issues, and we were getting a little closer. So my dad's laid back in his recliner, and his position in his recliner is hand behind the head, hand over here. All right, and he's sitting there, and a commercial comes on, and it's the one that John Reap did. Hey, is that thing got a Hemi?
Yeah.
Well, Dad's just real nonchalant. Commercial goes on. Gets ready to go off. He says, I taught that boy. I'm telling you, my dad is like it's incredible. I was like, I didn't know who he was. Why would I? I was like, what? I thought he's having another one of his episodes. I was like, sure enough, yeah. Just real. I said, you taught that guy? The one sitting there saying, hey, is that thing got a hit? Like who the hell, crazy.
I've got to find out what I did with it because I can't remember. I did the same thing when I was traveling. One of the companies that I worked for was Bush Brothers, Bush Beans, and Jay Bush and Duke, the dog. Roll that beautiful bean footage. Okay, my older kids were little, and that commercial popped up. I said, "Yeah, Jay's a great guy. I worked with him." No, you didn't.
Yeah, right.
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
I spent months out in Knoxville, Tennessee. You don't know that guy. I'm like, here's what I'll do. I'll get an autograph picture for you. I call him. He's in my cell phone. Jay, can you give me one of those autograph pictures? Absolutely. How you doing? Doing great. We kind of catch up. Less than a week. Here comes the flat manila envelope.
Kids.
His signature and Duke's paw print.
And the dog, baby.
And the dog print. Yep.
I love it.
Yeah. And that really was his dog. that they did in the commercials. But to me, that was just another guy.
And he is.
And at that time when I was working with him, they weren't doing those commercials. But that was something that he was I think he was third generation of the Bush name. So it happens. It happens. But John Reap didn't have a future in sports.
No,
and he's back in Hickory.
Yeah,
he's back.
He's a good. He's a good.
I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, Vance's wife Lori, I think they were in school together at Ford because that's where she went.
And I think John Reap's parents, maybe his son. I know his son ended up going to St. Stephen's, and this would have been 4 or 5 years ago. They had a fundraiser, and they had him come and speak, and he gave like a little concert. I think it was at downtown Hickory at the community theater.
Love it.
And they raised $15,000-$20,000 went towards the athletic boosters at St. Stephen's.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Let me take one more quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll wrap it up for a Friday, a warm Friday, in case you're keeping score. And it's not going to get any better for the weekend. 97, 98 your forecasted highs. But it could be, I don't know if you saw yesterday, Phoenix was projected at 116. That would be a new record. And Vegas was 108.
And in Europe, they're having a similar problem.
Since they started keeping records.
Yeah, since they started keeping records.
Yeah, because the only time that the Earth has existed is from the time that we have been able to establish, right?
Modern era.
Yeah, it's never happened. Like this
but
before.
around here, I think the record I saw yesterday is 103.
Yeah, probably
for this weekend, 103, 105, and it was set in 1932.
Yeah, there's some old ones out there.
Yeah.
Back in a moment.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit MooneyInsurance.com.
Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stifel Nicholas can assist you. Call Ford Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange.
First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
And welcome back. Just a few minutes here before we close up shop for a Friday. Don't forget the boys will be here in the morning from 8 to 10. We've got American Legion Baseball on WLON tonight. Who won Queen City or Rutherford? Do you know?
I will keep going.
Okay.
I'll check it.
That's who Chair will play. It's a 2 out of 3 series, and so it'll end up by Sunday at the latest. And then they'll start, I think the states are at Campbell University. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, great setting. Campbell's shortstop got drafted in first round.
Yeah, they had 2 guys. They had a pitcher, too, that got drafted.
Dude, those guys are so – that kid came up from Miami. They said, what was it like going to Campbell? He said, well, I grew up in a city and then I wasn't in the city anymore. He said it was culture shock. He said, hey, it was great. He said I was able to focus on playing baseball, which is what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And he got missed in recruiting, supposedly missed by all the big schools. And he decided to stay Division I mid-major, go to Campbell, and look what he did. There's something to be said for that.
A couple things. Miss Kay, thanks for joining us this morning. She said all you guys have a great weekend. Stay healthy. Todd, the last Jive After 5 is tonight. I think it had originally been published at 6:30, but it is 7 o'clock.
Yep.
The band performing will be On the Border. It's an Eagles tribute band.
Yeah, it'll be really
and they've
good.
been good. I think they went through Lincoln. Mm-hmm. I want to say, Todd, correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say this is one that got postponed because of weather and had to schedule, or maybe not. Maybe, I don't know.
Queen City.
Queen City won.
Yeah, they won. They beat Rutherford County. Very, very good team as well.
Okay.
Beat Rutherford County 8-4, and so they won 4-3. It's a 7-game series, and now let's see how they're going to do the final, Area 4 final. One game at Cherryville. Today the 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
It is. One game tonight. They're not going to play 2 out of 3. It's going to be one game determine who's the number 1 seed.
Okay.
And who's number 2.
And it's at Cherryville?
At Cherryville at
Fraley
7
Field.
o'clock. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That's awesome. That's
Okay.
great. That's good. Two really good teams. That's good.
Yeah. That way it don't cost you as much money to put those games on.
Hey, when's enough? What's enough? Okay.
Yeah, how much is enough?
What's too little? Okay.
Yeah.
Todd said, yes, this is a reschedule. The band has had some bad luck this season. I think they've had 4 or 5 rainouts. Well, summertime, that's just what's going to happen. And you don't know it until about time that it starts. I mean, you've done it. How many times have you drove to a game site?
Don't get me started.
And get there and you get washed out? I mean, sometimes even warm up and get washed out. Ronnie had a good question here for you.
Okay.
He said, Todd said they're expecting the largest crowd ever tonight.
Mm-hmm.
hydrate before you go.
Yeah.
Ronnie says, do today's coaches develop team leaders? And he says this because back in the day, coaches would say to the team elected captain, take the team out, warm up. Now the coaches direct warm-ups.
Yeah, and that is what's happened is because of the rate in which lawsuits happen today. That it's like students used to be the school bus drivers. Okay, you said no.
It's 16. I was a school
Things
bus
have
driver.
evolved so much where now only certain people can be in locker rooms and this, that, and the other, because it's not because it's what's most important for the kid. It's all done in the name of safety, which is disguised by that, when in reality it's about lawsuit or covering this over here so this person doesn't have to deal with it. And that's the way society has trended. And it's unfortunate because there's many people that will miss out, many young people that will miss out on the experiences of having certain people be able to come to the locker room, see their presence, understand history. Also, an older person that is making the rules can feel good about themselves, and that we've covered, I've covered, my area to make sure we don't get sued. And see, that's why I tell my kids, you break through barriers, you bust down the walls, and don't let anybody's, agenda hold you back when you know what you're doing is right. Not when you feel it, but when you know it. I try to teach my children and my players, and I say my players, the young men and women that I work with, it's not about what you feel in your heart. It's about what you think and know in your mind in the end, because this is an emotional decision. This is not. This is clarity. And so the difference between the two is people say you need to just follow your heart. Well, that's great, but you also have to, be conscious of where you want to go and what you want to do, and make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Okay? It's like somebody's asking me about narcissism the other day, because you see people all the time in leadership roles, that are narcissistic, really, really narcissistic. And the reason that those people will never win out when they go up against people that have tenacity or grit is because narcissism is a form of behavior. Okay, it is modified through guilt and other things, or the environment. When you have grit and determination, nothing, look in my eyes, nothing stops you from achieving what you want to do, because you know what you're doing is right. Okay, and you will stop at nothing. You don't care about behavior. You don't care about people being I'm doing this, and you don't care about nobility or disguised nobility, okay? You break through the barrier and you do what you know is right. And people that are in charge don't like that because it disrupts things.
Because they want to make decisions.
Disrupts their comfortability and, the things that they're doing.
Link says at least those drivers back in the day were on time.
Talking about the kids in the school bus?
One of the biggest things that qualified me as a school bus driver.
You were a big dude.
No,
and
I could
nobody
drive a
messed
straight
with you.
drive.
Oh, that's all they were.
You drive a straight drive school bus. That's a.
You never ground the gears.
You learned about
especially on the hill.
You learned about the clutch pressure point on the hill.
Oh yeah,
when you were sitting on the hill, where you could let that clutch out and release the brake, so you could be on the gas and the bus sat there. Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah, no, and you drove the buses that the gear shift knob was so worn out, there were no places on what gear was what.
Yeah,
you had to know what that pattern was.
Hey, Juju, Michael Wine, okay, Michael Wine, Charlie's boy. He was assistant principal at Maiden for a while, and then principal at Tuttle Middle, whatever.
He and I coached JV
football. Right. Yeah,
Lincoln.
Michael, he drove a bus.
Oh, yeah.
So they talked me into getting, obviously I had my CDLs to drive, when I was coaching at the high school, but to drive a yellow bus to help out. I had no problem with that, making extra money, helping kids out, no problem. Michael comes up to me one day, it's in between seasons. He's like, hey, man, look, I really need you to drive today. One of our bus drivers got sick. No problem. He said, go to Tuttle, pick the kids up, come back to the high school, pick our kids up, and then you can do the route. No problem. Well, the bus that I had was the worst bus in the world, okay? And he told me, they said, these are real rowdy kids. I said, no problem, I got it. Didn't have a problem with that. So we go over to Tuttle, they get on the bus, they're screaming, hollering, doing their thing, absolute no control. And so I let them all get on, say a word. I got my mirrors right, everything's checked. I start driving off real easy, and all of a sudden, I hit the brakes. Now, I wasn't driving fast, I was just pulling off. Boom, they come back and set me like this. And like, what are you? I said, hey, guys, hang on. This is my first day ever driving. That was the quietest, but I learned that trick from my dad and other people. I mean, when you slam on a brake, it's not to, you're not moving hardly at all, so nobody's going to get hurt, but it gets their attention. And sometimes you can do that subtly, but it was the best bus trip ever. High school kids don't come. Shepard, how you doing, guys? Great to see you.
I'll give you one short one. We went to Western, the football camp, when I was at West Lincoln, and I was one of the bus drivers. So Harold Warren drove my car. I drove the bus up there just to get the team up there.
Right.
And then, I drove home, then I had to go back and get them. We went to Western. So when I went back to get them, I kind of did the same thing when we got to Old Fort Mountain. I'm like, I know it's been a long week. Hadn't had a chance to go to Carol Wynn's. Today's your lucky day. We hit the top of the mountain. I'm going to knock her out of gear. We're going to waller it to the bottom. Y'all seen them kids. Eyes got about that big around.
Grabbing the seat, digging the nails in.
Hey,
good times.
You ever been in one of them, I asked her, you ever been in one of them kitty boxes that's beside the road? I said, it'll take the front end out of a vehicle if you have to hit that because you're flying away.
You're right.
Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you Monday. Don't forget the boys in the morning if you don't catch some American Legion baseball. 7 o'clock, WLON. You can get it online at 1050, WLON.com.
Good baseball.
See you guys.
Baseball.